tell me where you are.
Did we? I thought I have a vague recollection of us making some very preliminary plans for how to start today. Some good it did us, apparently, but
Yeah, I feel like after everything that happened, we were basically just discussing when and how we were going to take the teleportation circle and if we needed to rest at some point in time before then.
I've got you all just after high sun. You took a short rest at 10:15 that morning, which I think would be right after you fought, or 9:15 to 10:15, which I think is right after you fought Langdorosa, and killed Langdorosa. And I think that's like the general setting of what it is. But like, if you all would like to head straight for the teleporter, that is definitely an option. If you want to take some time in the castle, that's up to you. That's kind of what I mean. Like, if somebody does have notes on what you had thought about last time, jump forward with those.
All I want to know is whether I'm at full health.
I feel like you would. Let me look to the week before last, because I'm pretty sure you all took the short rest during the actual session. So I think you're at the correct health right now.
Okay, 40 out of 52.
Yeah, we haven't long rested since we fought Landerosa, but you should have at least gotten a short rest in because you missed last week and did take a short rest.
Yeah, it looks like the short rest was during that session. I have it on the notes towards the end of it. Yep, because you all took you had the back straps with Hadar finally sharing. I think his proportions was 5 to Hadar, 1 for each of you. And then you discovered the teleportation portal, and that's when we ended it.
I don't think we discovered a scroll of magic circle. And that kind of led to wanting to go back to the teleport circle, because the last 30 minutes of last session was us deliberating how to kill Farblex.
Oh yeah, we found the word as well, didn't we?
Yep. That's why I say, like, we essentially ended it at the killing of Farblex. So if anything else happened, it was probably more out of game chatter than necessarily part of moving the story forward. So I think Teddy's kind of right on that the scroll of Magic Circle that he identified was in part what brought you all to, 1, execute Farblex, and then 2, looking to move like right back towards the circle.
I think there's one. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was trying to prod for anybody to have a thought. What are you thinking?
Well, if we want to go straight to the teleport circle, that's cool. If we want to explore some more, I think there's still, I want to say there's 1 tower still, at least, that we haven't looked as well.
I think it's a good idea to go and check that.
I think we've done southwest, northwest, and maybe even northeast, because I think one session you guys went southeast, I think.
Essentially, right now, the group has looked over the southeast turret, which was where the barracks were, and that's where, like, they had left you two that first session. You two were basically with the lizard folk in their foundry, and that was exploring the 3 different levels of barracks. Last session, you all explored the southwestern turret, which is where you found the different, like, libraries, collections of books, and eventually Resmir's quarters. You've explored the bottommost level of the northwest turret in kind of moving through it, and then you've explored the keep itself, which is like the central turret, but you have not gone into the northeast turret.
Someone.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say someone with fast reflexes should go first.
You sure?
To open that door and then possibly slam it shut.
Yeah, I'm open to finishing searching the castle while we're here. Sounds like we basically need to kill a little time. I think before we jump into the teleporting circle, we should at least be fully rested up and prepared, just because we don't know what we're gonna face when we do.
I really think, Doc, you should just look into your heart, and whatever it tells you, that's what you should do. Don't look into your lungs, though, because they're rotten and past their best. Your heart specifically, and if that's telling you that we should go and do that, then I'll stand by you 100% at a safe distance so I don't catch whatever the fuck it is that you've got.
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I've been feeling fine. The itching's gone and everything.
Amazing what an ointment can do, isn't it? But no, I think it's a good idea. As keen as I am to go and investigate that circle of wonder and mystery, I think that we got some unfinished business here, and although my pockets are very full, I can't really claim much more stuff. I think that that's definitely the right thing for us to do. I can tick it off my list then. Safe buildings that don't need to be condemned.
Is Snapjaw basically going to take over the castle then?
I think that was the plan, wasn't it? Frogs out, lizards in.
In part, that's definitely what seems to be going on. I had vaguely contemplated turning Tynus into the NPC of this castle. Seems like the perfect character to have a blighted castle in the middle of a swamp, far from civilization, and plenty of humanoids to feed on.
Oh, that's a good idea. They could share.
Yeah, like a Lich's Fortress is perfect.
Everyone wants a castle in the swamp.
You must be ready to retire, because that sounds like a retirement plan to me.
Like some kind of war veteran. There's enough of society.
So where is it? How far away is this next tower we're going to? Is it easy? I can't remember.
The plans to go to one of the northern towers? Which one?
Which one is it we haven't explored yet? I think we've done one of them, but not the other, haven't we?
Well, you've walked through the northeast tower, you've completely left unexplored. The northwest tower, you walked through. So I'm not sure if that counts as exploring. You opened a door and got attacked by centipedes.
Well, then we can check the rest of that tower first, then, because we've already got a small percentage of it done. Centipede room, we can probably avoid checking that one again for a second time. You okay with that, guys?
Yeah, we'll leave it for Tynus.
Okay,
So-
so you're saying we're going to go look at the northeast turret. No, wait, you said northwest turret, which we have not looked at the turret, but that had the caverns underneath that I did take part in.
That was what I got to, Jamie.
Cool.
So everyone's moving forward with that idea. You'll basically walk through the dining hall, past the large table, moving into that turret. It's again very like swamped out in that bottom layer. There's probably like an inch or two of standing water. It's very muggy, musty kind of smell to it. Clearly, this is the side of the castle least capable of holding back the swamp, and seems to be the most likely to fail. And you're basically walking into the initial room that opens up then into another that has stairs going both up and down. And then I don't think the door got destroyed, so I think you've probably closed off the door to the room to the south, which is where the actual centipedes had come from when you opened that door. Assuming you're all just moving up the stairs.
Yeah, we're not going through the centipede door, I don't think, unless anybody has some bizarre reason they want to. Then I'm not going to stop them, but I am going to be far away.
I'll do like a little quick investigation for traps, like along the way or at the door when we get to it.
Like at the centipede door?
Oh no, I thought we were like going up to the next level.
I got you.
My bad.
Kinda...
Wasn't the centipede door sort of like a dead end? Didn't we kind of go in afterwards after we killed them all? Okay, yeah. So I was picturing, what is it? Basically a stairway going up then?
Yeah, it's a pretty similar setup where it's cut into like a tripartite separation. So you're going to go up one of the stairways, which again essentially will have a way down and a way up. And it's otherwise pretty empty. It seems like there's different like bits of hay thrown about, used as bits of bedding to keep you off the cold stone, but essentially like it's a rather austere room. And then it has two more doors, one to the south and one to the east.
Okay, I'll just check, I guess, like the southernmost door for traps, and then assuming I don't find anything, go through.
Just do an investigation on as you're looking over the door.
14.
Door seems pretty like regularly used. It doesn't really have signs of anything like kind of crossing its opening or anything that seems to be placed in ways to trap it. Seems pretty safe. Might be a little bit stiff as it does appear to be grinding like the stone against the actual like the door's like off sill almost, if that makes sense. I think that's the right word. Or off square.
This way looks about as good as any, and I'll go ahead and give the door a yank.
Just pops open. Little bit of like a shudder from the wood as that tension is like released from it. There's a larger room that fills most of this level, and it seems to have a hearth with maybe some embers remaining. This room's a little bit higher temperature than the ambience of just around, but in general it seems to be an empty room. There's some actual like bedding mattresses, but you can tell even they are like rank and filled with like reeds.
Maybe just search the room to see if we can find any additional information in there or anything of value other than nasty bedding.
Do a investigation.
Yeah, and see if do you get a general idea when you're investigating, or one of us, as to what the actual room is? Like, is it just random quarters, or?
Just roll an intelligence for me there. Teddy, you find a little like hidden stone that kind of lifts up, and there's a bag of 15 gold pieces inside of it. The bedding from this is just like essentially the cult barracks, and part of keeping their barracks here was to protect the entrance into the underground.
All right, I'll add the gold to the party loot.
Looks like just the barracks through here. Perhaps we should check the other door. Now I'll head back to the other one and check that one for traps also.
look over it. Pretty similar situation. It seems well used. Seems like there's enough signs of relatively fresh mud across the sill. Doesn't seem to be trapped.
All right, I will open it up and peer inside.
It's a smaller portion of the actual level here, but it seems to be just another sleeping quarters for 2 people, and there's no hearth.
And does it like dead end then? Were these the only 2 like rooms? There's no more stairs or anything?
There were stairs up and down on the level that you came in at. So you still have another set of stairs up.
Shall we check upstairs? And then I guess I'll just sort of head up the stairs.
Yeah, follow along.
Yeah, sure, I'll go with.
So this one, you walk right into a room that has 3 small mattresses on the ground, and then again 2 very similar doors in the same positions, one to the east and one to the south.
Off you go, Doc.
Yes, indeed. I'll just check like the southern door first, I guess. Just give it a look. Does it look like it's been well traversed? Does it look locked or trapped or anything?
Do another investigation. This one
11.
doesn't seem to be as often used, but it seems to still have signs that people have passed by. The door doesn't show any signs of anything like that it would trip against.
All right, I will open it.
Inside, you see a small little almost cubby of a room, like a closet almost. There's 3 small little chair or stools, and then 3 little writing desks, and a few stacks of books, maybe about like 6 or 8 books inside of here.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, say I'll just investigate the room and the books.
Roll investigation.
Let's re-roll that. Oh, that's weird. You click inspiration from D&D Beyond. Did it do anything?
Oh no, that's just a toggle. Just a /R D20.
That's silly.
I think it's to cover all of the different kinds of inspiration.
You're not inside.
Just kind of looking through things. The books seem to be like rudimentary practitioners of spells. Kind of looking over everything, it seems to be very basic spell work, and in general, most of it just seems to be trash work as well.
I'm not sure we're going to find anything particularly important anywhere here. It looks more like the slaves living in this area, or the cultists at least. Maybe I'll give the other door a check.
I look it over. Seems even less used than the others, but doesn't seem to have anything of danger.
All right, I will open that one as well.
My bad. I cleared my throat after pressing. This room is essentially empty. There's like a few scraps as if at one point there was a bed left in here, but it seems to just be like a cleared out room at this point. It's got some of the nicer like wood from being up so high away from the swamp, but doesn't really have anything fancy about it.
Okay, can I jump in here? On the map, it looks to me like we're in the southwest section. Are we supposed to be there, or are we supposed to be in the northwest section, or is north in a different direction than I think?
I only moved you all to the map to give you like a view of the castle more than to actually have you on the map of the castle.
Okay.
But yeah, like effectively the party is up in that northeast or northwest corridor right now.
So is there still a way up or another room or anything, or is this the dead end to the upside?
Effectively, you've come to a dead end at that point.
All right. Well, I will walk by the books and pick one of them up, and while I'm smoking a cigarette, I'll start reading it for a second, and then I'll take my cigarette and put it out inside the book, and I'll just mumble to myself, "I already read that one. It ends shitty," and then I'll walk away.
Yeah, starting fire is not a problem because swamp, it'll eventually put it out.
And then I guess I'll just like walk back downstairs.
Yeah, follow suit. Sounds like we're done with this tower.
As we're walking down the stairs, can I sort of like peep if there's anything that looks like out of place, like we missed anything important?
What are you getting at? Like, what are you hoping to find?
No, like secret paths or like anything that would make me think that there would be any valuables or important information or anything in particular.
No, not really.
And then the stairway downstairs, do we get the impression that that is leading down into the under castle, underdark area?
Yeah, you've taken that stairway down into there.
Yeah, that's
Okay. So we didn't find any other ways down. We were under the impression there was only basically one way in and then the teleporter out.
Yep, that's correct. So, do you all care to explore the final turret or down into the underground? Are you looking to rest? What are your thoughts?
I think we're doing that in order to be able to take a long rest. We're just trying to like kill time, right?
Yeah, we don't have to roleplay killing time, though.
I mean, if we want to be completionists, we can take a look at the northeast tower. Unless we find something of value, I'd say I vote for a long rest.
Yeah, we could do just like a quick rundown of the North Tower as well, just like you said, just to take care of any other loose ends.
Yeah, I think that's good.
As you move towards the northern tower, the northeastern tower, you kind of come at it from the south where it's got an do not move your miniature inside of there. It's not a good place to be. As you walk up from the south, you can see in through the door, like the door is actually crumbled and rotted with time. And it seems like there is a refuse heap just layered inside of this entire turret. There's a little sign that at one point there was a stair that wound around the outer edge, but it seems to have collapsed about 15 feet up into the air.
I wonder if it's worth trying to get up there. Does it look like it's like collapsed like a long time ago and has it been undisturbed?
Make a survival check. Um,
11.
It seems that the wood is quite rotted. It's hard to make out when that would have been. And then the actual like layers of refuse that are just thrown in here. It's all kinds of trash. There's some bits of like skeleton and creatures have been thrown in here. It's a very horrendous place to be. So it's kind of hard to gather like when it could have collapsed because it seems like it probably collapsed.
I think we found their garbage dump. You want to look through it?
I'm not sure I'm too excited about digging through the garbage, but perhaps it's worth climbing up there and seeing if there's anything of value left behind.
If you want to.
I will step on Vicious's toe and then say, "Why don't you get mad and go up there? You got a better chance climbing than I do."
Well, I can get mad, but I'm going to get mad at you for stepping on me.
I just thought you might climb better, that's all.
I don't want to climb a trash heap.
Don't climb the heap, climb the walls up to the next level and see if there's anything important up there. Or at least climb up there and then throw me a rope. I mean, I can try and climb up, but I assure you it'll end only in laughter and someone else doing the task correctly.
Okay, so sure, I can try and climb up a wall. That'll work. And then,
No, don't worry about it, Vicious. I'll go up there myself if you really need to have a laugh, though, or you don't think that you're strong enough. I'll attempt to start climbing the wall.
Think.
Do we still not know about Arlyle's boots?
His boots do nothing here. They're boots of sneaking. They're not spider climb.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
their boots, they actually have the thing that they do.
They look fantastic, and that's all that matters, right?
Right. I thought they were just to be clean.
That's their primary function. Anything else they do is just a nice to have sort of, by the by side effect.
Yeah, effectively he took the they don't tarnish to mean they never get muddy. I definitely meant it as like he can wipe it and they're perfectly clean. So it's just been a flavor of that thing. Doc, I need you to roll initiative. As you leap across to try to grab at the stairs, a large appendage of like a pinkish brown color just like stabs out of the muck and the trash, and this big padded open grasping feeling tentacle grasps into you and starts to suck into you with the suction. You're just like attached to it, and it's gonna start a combat.
Hey, Doc, you found a new girlfriend.
As the tentacle grabs me, I'll just yell out, "Damn it, I should have sent Vicious."
Oh, and she was gonna rage too at the start of it. It was gonna be amazing. I thought you were trying to like reverse psychologize her, and then you just dove in there.
Yeah, it was. I thought if I like epically failed to get up there, that she would be like, "Let me show you how it's done." Oh, I didn't click my token. You want me to re-roll and just put 17, or will you do it?
So guys, I had to open the door. What are we fighting?
A giant tentacle has reached out into Doc and kind of sucked onto his back.
Was anyone there? Or did you just open the door for fun?
Depending on where it touches me at, I may assume it's Arlyle.
No, it was my neighbor, so needed help.
Was he at the door and say, "Time to roll an ass check, Jan"?
Yeah, but he failed.
Alright, so it's going to start with Sarad, surprised, turnover, you can now react. Vicious, surprised, turnover, you can now react. Doc, surprised, turnover, you can now react. Hadar, surprised, turnover, you can now react. And then as the tentacles reach out for you, a 21 to hit, Doc.
Oh yeah, definitely hits.
And then a 24 will hit as well. The tentacles will do 6 bludgeoning, and then 4 bludgeoning, and 6 piercing, and 3 piercing. So, fuck. I
19
think
total.
10 and 9. And then roll a grapple check. It can be athletics or acrobatics.
14.
All right, yeah. So you're gonna be grappled and restrained. And then it is going to try to bite you. Will hit with a 27, dealing 9, 12 piercing damage, and a Constitution saving throw, please.
I'm going to use a superiority die to reduce it.
That'll
So
save the
22
throw.
for the and then I got a 4 plus
7, I think it's your fighter level.
Yep, 7 total out of that total damage. Is there like a second round of it, or is it just the initial piercing?
No, the bite was to do disease, and you're good on the disease.
Yeah, didn't you say it was 9 piercing?
Yeah, but the bite only does piercing. The tentacles have bludgeoning and piercing damage. So
Okay.
there were
So
like
if I reduce
3
that
different
7?
rounds of numbers there.
I got you. So I took 19 on the first 2 attacks, and then this one, did it do a total of 9 minus my 7? Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm taking 2 more, so I'll have taken 21 total from that. Okay.
Yeah. So that looks like it will go to Arlyle is surprised and then can react, and then Verthis is surprised and can react, and it will go to Sarad.
Are we waiting for people's reactions?
I don't think there was anybody who could actually react how that played out. But it was just to go through the actual surprise.
So are we all below Doc then? If he climbed up something?
He's effectively in the room. All of you would be outside of the room on some level. I think Vicious in the doorway is probably pretty close to point as Doc was trying to egg her in and just kind of push through.
But are we on the same level, or do we need to climb up?
No, this is the ground level. Doc didn't get anywhere. Like, the moment he stepped into the room, he got attacked.
Whoa, I was halfway up before it ate me.
But took it as a sign that you wanted to get closer and become a friend.
It might still be friendly. Maybe it's just giving me a boost. It's just spiky.
Gropey, spiky, slappy boost.
Yeah, it's just trying to swallow me so it can spit me up to the second level.
Helpful.
Freezing. However, you are restrained and grappled, right?
Yeah, right before it shoots me up to the second level.
It's not shooting him up anywhere. It's going to eat him.
What are you thinking, Sarad?
I mean, I saw Doc kind of like get stung, and then I don't know how superiority dice would look physically on a person, but I assume I can tell that he felt the need to heal himself, right?
I think those would be things that you see more signs of his depth of fighting abilities. Very uncanny abilities to like move out of the way, seeing an attack coming. Like, he would almost see things telegraphed long before somebody is like specifically throwing a punch. He sees like where the muscles are starting to move and how that would play out. So it's not necessarily that you saw him reduce that damage. You saw his fighting abilities keep him a little bit more out of danger. Almost basically like pulling his body out of its mouth as it went to like bite down onto him. He was able to like wrench to the side and its beak like slips off of his flesh, taking some with it, but certainly not biting into like the large chunk of meat that would be like the side of his torso.
Then I guess I will cast Bless on Doc and Vicious and Hadar, since I feel like they're going to be the most right up in this thing's face.
Any bonus action? I don't think so, but
No, I'm fine. Yeah.
then we'll go to Vicious.
Okay. Obviously, I go into rage. You are not going to eat my friend today.
You
Now,
hear a little voice in your head. Seems tasty.
he's diseased. He is not tasty.
You all hear Vicious talking about how not tasty Doc is.
I look at Hadar, concerned.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad.
You hear a loud grumbling stomach.
All right. Now, if I throw javelins at it, can I do so without hitting Doc? Or should I go up and just bash at it directly?
Throwing or swinging your weapon, a 1 is going to have a chance to hit him regardless.
But with the javelins, I can throw 2 of them.
In melee, you can swing twice. And you can add your rage bonus to a strength-based attack. Although I guess javelins you can probably still throw strength-based. I think a throw is always going to be dex-based, so you wouldn't get that extra +2.
Fine. I prefer them all. I like up close and personal. All right. So I am going to charge in and get as close to where the beak is as possible, since that seems to be the big problem. and start bashing away.
My bad. Did I hear you say you went reckless, or was that just a normal attack?
That was a normal attack. Probably should have been reckless, but I never think about going reckless.
24 hits.
All right,
For
and
what
then I
is that? 14 damage, and you can do your thunder.
do I get a second attack?
You do indeed. And a 9 is going to miss, as it seems like it has like a chitinous armor on its back, and it just kind of clinks off of it.
Oh, can I add a D4 to the 9? Is that going to help at all?
You can roll. An 11 will still miss. Believe that'll be all, unless you care to move around inside of there. It will go to Doc.
So what are my options when I'm restrained? I can't actually attack. I have to try to break free, right?
While you're restrained, your attacks are at disadvantage, but you can attack. Your movement is at 0.
Okay, and then the alternative is to do like a strength-based escape.
Yeah, dexterity is at disadvantage, so you could, well, actually, realistically, I think it's just the dexterity saving throws, so I think you could still do an acrobatics. Less... Yeah, you could do acrobatics or strength to try to get free, but that's using an action.
Okay. I'm gonna do grab a couple daggers, and I'm gonna try to like poke this thing and make my escape. So I'm gonna do the acrobatics check, and as I do, I'm gonna respond to what I thought Vicious was saying to me, and I'll say, for the record, I consider it more of an ailment than disease, but I appreciate your concern. And then I'll do my check.
Seems powerful enough to just hold on to you, and you feel as like it, like almost pieces of your flesh are tearing off of your back. As it's not a save. No D4. His save would be at disadvantage, and it's just a grapple check. Oh man, that's gonna go to Hadar.
Well,
Look, food coming straight to me.
so I hear Doc for the day. That was a question of mine. Did I notice what happened to Doc, or am I too far away still?
You want to be across the castle? You are more than welcome to be.
I think we were kind of all moving as a group towards the tower. It's just where he stuck us at the start of the session.
Then I want to be together with everyone, and well, I would just starting punching it and saying, I believe you taste better than Doc. I'm gonna start punching it with my stick there.
Oh, quarterstaff attacks. Excellent.
Miss, bro?
Roll a D4 and a D20 for me. So you're gonna hit. Oh yeah, it's not gonna. Doc, your AC's over 12. I think that's a miss. Next quarterstaff.
Yeah.
Do you want to try to stun Doc? No, wait, you gotta hit him to stun him. My bad.
Yeah.
25 hits. Dealing
I'm
10.
go- I'm gonna use one key point to try this stun. Was a Constitution save with a DC 13.
Doesn't even seem to react to the hit itself.
Just as I would have guessed, so good big creature has a high Constitution. Oh well, then I'm gonna use my bonus action to punch it with my fists.
23 hits.
Yeah, and that would be the end of my turn then.
Alrighty, so it is going to smash Doc up against the eastern wall. I need you to make a strength saving throw, Doc.
Strength saving throw. And then I don't know if it'll make a difference, but it'll be a
Plus
14.
6, yeah, so a 17. So you'll take half damage, and you are not stunned. 7, so 3 damage, 6 damage total. Wait a second. 7 is 10, 5 damage total. As it tries to slam you against the wall, you're able to bust out at the last moment, and though your body slams a little bit into the wall, you jump off of the wall with just as much of the shock being kind of turned into the actual leap. And then it is going to try and grasp. I think that's going to be vicious. I think a 13 misses you, vicious.
Yes.
And then it's going to try to bite into Hadar. And I think a 12 misses Hadar.
Yeah, a 12 misses.
It will go to Arla.
Okay, I move on up with so that I'm within 10 feet of tentacle that's sort of grabbed Doc, and I'm gonna just stab at it with my lance. Or am I? Hang on one sec. Actually, yeah, I am. I'm gonna stab at it. So a 20 to hit for 10 damage for my first one.
20 hits.
Alright, then I will add on 1 Divine Smite. So that's 2d8. For an extra 8 damage, and then I'll go again.
"21 hits.
Okay, I may as well add another Divine Smite. For another 7 damage, and then for my bonus action. Sorry, just marking off my spell slots. Yep, so for my bonus action, I'm going to cast Sanctuary on Doc.
Nice.
So I'm down 3 level 1 slots in 1 turn, but hey, seems worth it, hey? And that ends my turn.
Go to Verthus.
So this creature is, I mean, like on the same level as us, or?
From your perspective, it would almost be in the floor, but yes, it's on the same level as you. It was living in the trash and the refuse that was in this room.
Yeah, I just kind of put my token there because I'm assuming we're all in this circular tower over here.
This doesn't really need to be a combat with a map, was the general idea.
Sure. All right, I want to take a bonus action first. I'm going to do Vow of Enmity on the creature. Now have advantage on my attacks. And then I'm going to swing twice on my pole arm. Let's see if I can. And then I'm assuming since it's rolling twice, this is simulating advantage, right?
Wait, what's the question?
I'm assuming because we have it set up to roll twice, that you just kind of assume that's built-in advantage.
Yeah, that's the idea. Whether it's advantage or disadvantage, it's already rolled.
Cool.
26 hits.
14 damage on the first attack. Then a critical on the second attack. So let's do. How can I force a crit on that attack?
What's the question?
That wasn't crit. Let me roll again, another d10. All right, so 14, 11, and 9. 25. 34 points of damage. Of slashing damage.
Seems bloodied.
All right, and my turn.
Gonna go back to Sarat.
So I will cast Spirit Guardians on myself and run in.
Dropping Bless.
Yes.
I believe it will then go to Vicious.
Alrighty. I will. Sure, I'll go reckless on this thing. How much could it hurt?
That's very reckless of you.
24 hits. And 15 hits.
15 is good. I was afraid it was going to be much higher.
32. It's definitely like massive spouts of blood from each connection of your maul as you sink it deeper and deeper into this thing's flesh, kind of crunching more of its skeletal armor that just rests right beneath the flesh. And it's going to go to Doc.
So Doc's still a little bit dazed from getting smashed or tenderized into the wall. We'll run back up next to Vicious and pull out my rapier and give it a stab. I'm gonna do a wait. So I'm not blessed anymore. Okay, yeah. So that one's just gonna miss, and then like having missed with the rapier, I guess I'll just say to Vicious, Vicious feels like we're winning. Are we winning? And then I'll reach down to my side and sort of like a little pistol grip hand crossbow. I'm gonna shoot it with the crossbow at close range with disadvantage and sharpshooter. Misses, and then I'm gonna do a bonus action, grab my flask and take a drink, and that's the end of my turn.
To Hadar.
Well, I'm gonna continue to try to punch with my stick. Oh, wrong button. I'm sorry.
So first
Oh,
two
you can.
miss.
Yeah, you can count the first try unarmed strike as my bonus action. So 14 to hit.
14's gonna miss too.
It was like hitting the wall and not hitting the ground and not the monster.
Delirious of hunger.
That should be the end there. Wisdom save. Fucking that one. What was the
Hooray.
damage? It was 13. Yeah, 13 radiant. As the little fairies pick at this thing, apparently almost cleaning its flesh, it looks a little bit pinker. And it is just going to flail about, striking out at random. First tentacle is going to smash into Vicious for a 26, dealing 11 damage. So 5.
Just a little bit.
The second one will smash into Sarad for a 23, dealing 4 damage and a Constitution saving throw. And then the third is going to bite into Vicious with a 25 to hit for 8, 11 damage, and so 5 more, and then a con save. Oh, wait a second. Damn. So 3 more piercing damage to you, Vicious, and then 6 more piercing damage to Sarad, but I still think it's a 10 to save. Yep, Spirit Guardians will drop.
Okay, so that was 5 damage plus 3 piercing damage, which is 8.
I feel like it was 11 damage twice and then a 7, so I think you took 5, 5, and 3. So total
Roll
of
your
13
mathematicians.
damage.
Yeah.
And then it's on Arla. Oh, actually,
Alright.
I need Sarad and Vicious to make athletics or acrobatic saves. And then a constitution save from Vicious. So both of you will be restrained. And then constitution save Vicious. Plus 3. You are going to be diseased. Oh no, poisoned.
Is Arlyle's +3 already baked into some of these saves?
Yeah, the 12, it still fails. But the
Fair enough.
athletics and acrobatics are just checks. So you are poisoned right now, Vicious, as well as restrained. And then it's gonna go to Arlau.
Righty ho, gonna go for an old lance poke. So a 16 to hit for 11.
16 hits.
Why not add on a level 2 Divine Smite, so 3d8. That's not come out right. Why isn't that working?
Gotta delete the space.
Oh yeah, I thought it was on bloody, what's it called? Discord. Did it even work? Why have I suddenly forgotten how to do it?
/R space 3d8. That's Forward slash.
Not gonna work that time, eh? 5. Oh, you said backslash. I was like, oh, I've been doing forward slash, but I could have sworn I've been doing forward slash all this time. But yeah, change back to it. So a stonking 5 extra damage on that. 4, that was worth a level 2 spell slot.
One more attack.
Yep, sorry, was just marking off my spell slot. Yep, another one, so I'll just roll it now.
$16 hits.
Okay, and then let's have a look at my spell slots. I'll leave it there. I need to start being a bit more conservative. I've only got 3 slots left, so.
Seems severely wounded, but it's still holding on. It will go to Verthus.
Sure. I'm gonna keep swinging. Uh, 19 to hit.
19 will hit. What was wrong with the 16? Don't you still have advantage?
16. Where are you getting 16 from?
Oh, my bad. That's an Arlout roll. I was confusing it. Gotcha. Yeah, so the 19 hits, 24 will hit.
22 total damage on those 2. Bonus action.
Are you doing something with the bonus?
Yeah, the butt end.
Gotcha. Yep, it's gonna die on that bonus. Let's just smash the butt into it. You can kill it.
Fantastic. And is Doc still stuck on this thing, or?
No, he's been free for a minute when he got slammed into the wall.
So I want to take. Do I know which tentacle actually attached to him?
The one that you want to have been attached to him?
Is Doc conscious? I don't remember. Did he get knocked out by that throw?
No, he didn't get knocked out.
All right, so I'm gonna pull that tentacle over to him and then say, "Hey, sorry, I killed your girlfriend."
Nice.
Oh, no worries, friend. She was a little too hamsy anyway. I prefer to be the man in the relationship.
Yeah, she was a little clingy.
So can I try to climb up on top of this thing and reach the second level now?
Most certainly. Do an acrobatics check.
Would it be easier if you just I gave you a boost up? I mean, I'm pretty tall, and you can probably just climb up there.
It's more a Tomb Raider-y situation. You're able to grasp onto it, but as you're climbing up, the floorboards are falling out from under you. But you're able to maintain yourself and keep onto the wood as it's kind of disintegrating. Moving kind of up about a half a flight of stairs and around the turret by 3/4 of a circle, 60 degrees or so. You come up to this little landing, and there's a small chest.
All right, I'll check it for traps, see if it's locked, and what is it, investigation?
Yeah, you can do an investigation. It seems to just have kind of been forgotten here and left for too much trouble.
All right, I'll just open it up and see what's inside.
You have thieves' tools with him, but no proficiency?
Tools, no proficiency, correct.
Yeah, so do a dexterity check. Seems to be locked as you kind of go into it, but after a moment, you're fumbling with the fobs. You feel like you've got the tumbler in the right position, and you've got a little bit of tension on it, and there's just that little click, and it pops open.
Okay,
There's a collection of copper pieces. It doesn't seem to be the best loot that you have ever spotted, but you could take some time to dig through if you wanted to spend some time on this. Otherwise, it appears to just be a chest of coppers.
I will dump it out and make it rain over the edge.
Roll a perception for me.
Allow starts twerking.
You notice a few pieces of like gold and silver fall, but not very many. Most of this chest was definitely copper, and Arlau can take 1,825 single points of damage.
Insta kill, I think. Let me just check my max hit points. Yeah, so
I don't
60
know how
times
high
2.
you have to drop copper from to deal damage, but I think that would be fun.
Death by reckless twerking.
So it appears that this was just kind of left in here ages ago, and in part because there wasn't much more than copper in it. As well, you still see there are signs of the stairs continuing on up this turret.
Chest probably wasn't worth retrieving, but there may be some more up here. I can go check it out on my own, or if anybody else wants to join me.
Yeah, I'll come with you, man. What's the worst that can happen? Get attacked by a tentacle creature?
Here, this should help, and I'll throw the little chest off the edge too.
Do you need any healing before you go?
I'm alright, thanks. I didn't even get scratched.
Oh no, not me. I'm in my prime.
Okay, I mean, I look at Doc and I assume he kind of still looks a little rough. So I'll be like, yeah, he seems fine.
He always thinks he's in his prime. He's diseased.
No, it was just a diversion, letting it bite me and almost eat me. I was just taking it off its guard so we could strike.
So
I don't have a rope, but if somebody throws one up to me or whatever, I can help you up. Or you can go the manly route and climb up the tentacle beast.
It looks dirty, so I'll throw my rope up if you could just help me get up, mate.
Of course, my friend. Once he throws it up, I'll secure it to something nearby.
I was going to say in advance as well, when we leave, I'm going to untie it and take it with me again, just so we don't forget.
You find like a beam from one of the floorboards that you feel like might be still solid enough that it can support weight.
All right, I'll wrap it around the beam and then hold one end of it.
So who's going up a level with Doc? It's Arlau?
well, I'm not gonna really split the party, so I'll climb up.
I'll go with them too.
Yeah, I will too. But hey, Sarad, can you give me a heal? That thing got me a little bit.
Sure.
Do we really have to climb?
Might be bacon up there, mum.
Are you sure
yeah.
about that? And Haydar's gonna jump on the rope too.
You could be the lookout from down there if you want, hey Doc.
No, I'm not gonna miss on the bacon. You believe you can eat bacon without me? Or... yeah.
I mean,
That's 17 points of heal I get.
Yeah,
All right, thanks.
sure.
So you
Is anyone... So I was going to say, is anyone still poisoned, by the way?
Oh yeah, I'm still poisoned. Forgot about that. I get restrained because the thing died.
Yeah, things tend to go limp when they're dead, at least immediately, and not so much shortly afterwards. But yeah, okay, I'll give you 5 points of healing, which will cure your poison as well.
So as you start to climb up towards the next level. The stairs are certainly more sturdy. In general, most things in this castle get a little sturdier as they get up a little higher away from the water levels. And as you kind of get towards the top here, you see like a trap door in the ceiling that the stairs kind of lead up to, and it's just like a wooden hatch about 3x3.
Does it have like a chain or something hanging from it we could like grab hold of and try to open it?
Sounds exactly like what it is. You're able to just grab like 3 links of the chain and you pull down, and it's got like a little like 2 parts of a stair, so it makes almost like a drop down stair on that little area. And it still swings a little bit, so it's not like the easiest to kind of balance yourself on, but it gives you 2 steps up. But like if once you drop it down, you could get your head into there and at least get like the first looks and first glances into the actual room itself.
All right, I'll peek up over the thing and see what's in there.
As you start to look into this area, it seems to be another study, only it hasn't been touched for ages. There are clear signs of dust just piling up in large quantities. There's many pieces of paper kind of scattered across some of the desks. There's 4 different desks in this room, and they're all in kind of different corners of this turret, where it's almost like cardinal directions for you to kind of gather into real quick. And there appear to be 3 skeletons lying on the floor.
Come take a look at this. A couple of skeletons and some paperwork. Maybe there's something decent in here. I'll climb up in the room and then like. Do I need to light a torch? Is it light up there?
It's definitely in general dark up there, but there's certainly light coming through the actual ceiling. As you start to climb into the room, there's going to be like a gray mist that rises from the floor. 3 of them from the different corpses on the ground, and they're going to stand with faces just staring at you and immediately swing into your body.
Never mind. Were they like ghostly looking, or was it the actual skeletons like standing up?
No, it was like the mist standing up out of the skeletons. Definitely like ghostly.
Can I cast Divine Sense, please?
You all will be in initiative at this point.
Fuck.
You want to reroll initiative or leave it the way it is?
Nope.
And that was the moment that Doc realized shit got real.
Not the part where this other thing was trying to eat you. It's giant.
No, I was fine that whole time.
Right. Oh, so there's 6 of these things.
Yeah, only 3
encounter,
came out of the bodies.
that encounter with the squid thing was really cool. That count as a pun that spawns a party wiping enemy.
I definitely miss having Hallister. He made life a lot easier.
He's off playing ping pong with what's it called? I think he's lich at the moment.
You guys never even met his secretary. That was like the NPC I was most excited to play, was Hallistar's secretary.
Well, that was Raz's character. Or was that Hallis's bitch?
Dude, Raz was an apprentice.
And once I was the apprentice, now I am the master.
So let's see.
Like, little do we know that Raz is the big bad for this whole campaign. Eventually, we have to fight his Lich character. Apgun return.
Yeah, the campaign he's running at the moment is actually him creating a horde of enemies we have to PvP against.
Oh no.
Alrighty. So. Oh shit. How long Sanctuary lasts for? Is it a minute?
One second, let me just double check. Yep, 1 minute, so it's probably expired by now.
Doc, roll a d10 for me. You get a 10. You're still under Sanctuary. All right.
Aha! We did it!
So,
Hey! Although that might be
it's
such a good thing.
essentially a surprise round again. So Sarad's surprised, gets a reaction. Vicious is surprised, gets a reaction. Doc is surprised, gets a reaction. And then the first one is going to swing out at him. And the wisdom check. 14.
Meets them.
Yeah, I gotta make sure it's not a negative. Alright, they're neutral. So yeah, 14 meets beats, so it is able to attack him, and it is going to... it's gonna miss with a 10. And then it is going to go to... Hadar is surprised, gets your reaction. Swiping at Doc, 18 will meet, or will beat, and then 22 to hit. It is going to do 10 necrotic to you, and I need a Constitution saving throw.
Did it attack me twice there and hit, or just once?
It's a second creature attacking you. The first was for the Sanctuary.
Yeah, you missed with one, and then did you just attack me twice or once right there with that one?
Like, this is a second attack.
Oh, from the same one though. But
No, different one.
Oh well, I don't think you ever said damage on the first attack.
Oh no, it missed. I think I rolled like a 10 to hit you. I have to roll to be able to attack you, and then I have to roll to hit you.
Okay, so the 10 is the first damage I'm taking. I'm gonna use a superiority die on that one. Is that a melee attack it's doing against me?
Ooh, can you pop? This is an interesting one because it's not really... It's a melee spell attack, but it's not melee damage.
No, it says when another creature damages you with a melee attack. So, okay. So, yeah, I'll take 10 plus what?
Yeah, see, I think the difference is because this is necrotic, it's almost removing life more than it's, like, dealing, like, a physical damage to you.
Yeah, no worries.
Constitution saving throw. And you will have the
Okay,
plus
so
3.
10 damage plus a con save?
Yep. So yeah, you're good there. That's how to kill PCs. And then it is going to go 2 more in line. Wisdom from the next one. It's a 16, so then striking out at Doc. A 10's going to miss. And then the one after that, Wisdom is a 16, so striking at Doc, a 21. And this is going to do 12, and again a con save.
Gotcha. And at this point in time, you would notice that Doc looks particularly ghastly.
Almost like
Not-
a specter.
Yeah, somewhere in between a specter and a lifeless body on the ground.
It would have been better if you failed the con save too. And then it's gonna go to Arlyle surprised, gets reaction. Verthis surprised, gets a reaction. Oh wait, the other ones would have been.
When you say that, surprise, I get a reaction, what are you implying there?
You have access to your reaction at the end of your turn. You
Pretty
can't
much
react.
get a chance to say something also. So if you want to like yell out like a 6-second battle plan or something, you have that ability.
You can't actually take a reaction while you're surprised. So once your surprise fades, you're able to react. And that's what I'm more or less saying. While you all have Doc leading forward, there's not necessarily much that anybody can do that I can just kind of take an entire turn and then turn it to normal initiative. But I'm just trying to stick to the actual book so people gain a better idea of the actual way surprise works. Because most people have no clue how surprise works.
Yeah, Teddy, this might be your first time with us getting surprised. Basically, all that happens is the first round of combat until the initiative he rolled, you essentially like get skipped that whole first round of combat. But it's basically like your ability to shout out like 6 seconds, and then like it takes the place of your turn.
Yeah,
Kind
you
of
can't,
sucks, but it makes sense.
yeah, and you can't take reactions until you've passed the turn which your surprise fades. So what it means by gets a reaction is it means that from now on until your next turn, you now have one reaction you can use if it meets the criteria of any of your abilities. So say like, well, I've got Sentinel, I couldn't use it before, but now that I've had my surprise turn pass, I'm now allowed to use Sentinel if the condition is met for me to do so.
Guys, okay, I know how surprise works. I was just on his phrasing. I have several thousand hours in D&D.
So do you need me to explain it again, or are you good?
I'm good.
The
Needed
next
explaining.
two are failing their wisdom saves, and it's going to go to Sarad.
Can I do my channel divinity?
Most certainly.
Okay, I guess I just push this button.
Are you climbing into the room? Because technically they are above you and not in sight of you. He's like through
But
that
they can
secret
hear me,
trapdoor.
right?
Are they basically in the attic, and we're on like floor beneath it?
More or less, yes.
But they can hear me like shouting, right? Is that enough?
Yeah, I guess that'll work.
Okay, I'm a little scared to walk into the room. Ghost.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that they have to run once if they fail it because they can't see you.
Ruh-oh, ghost.
And your DC is 14?
Yeah, it's not that high yet.
This is about to be a shit show. They are all affearded.
Yay! So we just tackle one at a time, right? Okay, so now I'm going to move into the room.
I don't see any reason to play this combat, so we will end it there. You guys can tell me how you kill 6 specters.
I
Are
bet
they
have
just like paralyzed when she does that?
Turn undead, basically, until you deal damage to them, they can do nothing. So there is no reason to spend 40 plus minutes in a combat when you guys can pick them off one-on-one, and they are tiny little baby creatures.
Yeah, it's fair, because just so you know as well, I've got the same thing, and I was planning on doing it as well as soon as it faded off.
See, okay.
You probably maybe at least saved our lives right there.
I mean, yeah, ghosts.
Damn, that's awesome. Hell
Are
yeah.
these the kind that like can invade your body and take you over and stuff?
Nope.
Oh,
They
okay, that's good.
reduce your maximum hit points. So that's why those constitution checks are low DCs, but very important. Because if you lose 18 hit points, and then you also lose 18 to your max hit points if you fail the con save.
Until you take a long rest, though, right?
Yeah, let's stop
Yeah.
exploring.
So I guess whenever Sarad does her channel divinity or whatever, like Doc goes from like about to just drop back down the hatch, like almost dead into the room. So like, I'm not sure what you said to him, but good job. And then I guess we can just like serial execute them all.
Yeah, let's still go through how you all are killing all of these things. What is your plan for fighting 6 undead creatures that the clerics have absolutely dominated?
Given the fact that it's a round room, I'd like to just stand in the middle of it and just continuously spin in a circle with my lance outstretched, just like like a total wipeout obstacle.
Our
And we're all
vomits
ducking
on
and jumping.
everybody.
But I aim it high, and they can all duck under it.
It's a lawn sprinkler.
Yeah, I feel like I would just be really like pragmatic about it, and like just going, you just kind of like Ginsu dicing through the crowd.
Yeah, go clockwise.
But the corpses themselves, I mean, do they just look like they've been here for a really long time?
Yeah, like the actual corpses themselves are just bone and little scraps remaining of clothing that was once on them.
Okay.
It's pretty crazy that like these frog people and that they were just living in this castle all this time with all this immense danger knocking around. They really did not get their surveys carried out on their new property at all.
No. Bad home inspection.
So
Well,
cheap.
if they were tree frog people, they probably would have discovered that room. But since they can't walk on walls, they couldn't make it past the tentacle beast, obviously. Plus, it was like mutually beneficial. It was sort of like their garbage disposal.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So it's a feature of the property, if anything.
The Rancor.
Yeah, there's like upkeep and everything, but it's worth it, man.
Yeah, with them being undead, I probably would have done my divine weapon thing, so my lance would have been glowing. I would have just been thrusting and stabbing away at them with the divine proc extra on it. Just stabbing it, keep myself at range, and probably just behind the sickly Doc because he's a good meat shield with his sanctuary upkeep on him, and just stabbing away.
Just imagining using Doc as like limp body as armor.
I'd think of Doc as like an off-spec tank, but like when you see like a really dirty homeless crackhead person and you like cross the road to not have to walk past them. That's kind of like how I like to imagine Doc. So enemies kind of a bit like, oh, stay away from him a little bit. So he's got like a very unconventional form of defense. The power of repulsion.
Yeah, it works better on the living, but
Definitely Danny Trejo.
yeah, he's definitely got like the desperado vibe to him too. That was like the build.
A ritual still takes a spell slot, right?
If you cast it in normal time, it's a spell slot. If you take the 10 minutes to perform the ritual action, it's like that 10 minutes plus the casting time, and then it's no spell slot.
But before you go casting anything, we're all pretty hurt, and now that we've cleared out all this shit, might be an okay place to consider a long rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we haven't had one since that boss fight, right?
We haven't had one in what feels like days, but it was actually just last night.
Yeah, it was just last night / 2 weeks ago.
So can we look around a little bit in this attic before we go sleep?
Oh my gosh, we don't learn.
Do an investigation.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll investigate too.
I'll guidance you.
What are you looking for?
Whatever looks interesting up here. Anything that might look interesting to anyone, and then I'll point it out to that other person. Just because we happen to be here, it's still relatively early in the day, but we're doing a long rest.
Looking through things, you all find a good bit of parchments and papers that basically crumble and disintegrate just to the touch. But there are some pieces of like a leather like vellum that lasts a little bit more sturdily. And you start to see there's a trend of star charts in all of these things. And while you don't necessarily understand the astronomical like meaning behind a bunch of these things, they are quite beautifully done. The ink seems to be holding quite well, and a lot of these parchments seem to be in good enough condition that you could save. Stargazers were murdered in that room.
You beat me to my sassy comment.
Oh, that's so sad. We just obliterated the ghosts of the stargazers.
You did.
Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and do the ritual ceremony to put their souls to rest.
While you're doing that, I'm going to uncork one of the 12 bottles of wine I've got, and I'm just going to go. This place is filthy. It's not okay.
So, waking up the next day, 6 in the morning, everybody's starting to turn with the sun. What thoughts do you all have?
Well, the first thought that goes through Doc's mind is, when the fuck did Arlyle crawl over and start spooning me in the night?
Boy, you got issues.
I'll roll over to Arlyle and say, it's been a while, but I'm not quite that lonely.
It looks style that he's Arlyle somehow put his special boots on his feet. I just wanted you to warm them for me, man.
Just assume you were going for my cigarettes, and I'll light a cigarette and then give one to Arlyle.
I'll go on then. I'll take it. He's cracked. He's on a downward spiral ever since being exposed to such filth in this weird fort castle. Man's unhinged. I'll just take a massive drag. Oh, I see why you smoke this shit, man. It's pretty good. This is slightly herbal, right?
Yeah, there's all kinds of things in there. I'm surprised you hit that Arlyle. You're normally like a little more conservative with the germ.
Yeah, I'm regretting it now. It was a
Rod,
hard
is
one as
that
well.
a deck save to run away from them?
No, I was seeing if I slept sleeping up or fell down.
Oh,
Which-
you tried to sleep standing up?
No, sitting up so that my hat stays on, you know?
I was going to say, the last thing you said before we did a long rest, you didn't say you were going to lock your knees, so...
Yes, if
That your
anyone
hat-
was looking. Yeah, so if anyone was looking when Sarad wakes up, which hopefully I would wake up first because I'm super paranoid about looking good.
I always assume the religious folk are the first to wake up because you
Awesome.
all basically finish your 6 hours and you pray for the last 2, like when it's a little more casual. So depending
Great.
on how things go, I always assume that the religious folk are taking 2 hours for spell work at the start of your day.
What about the hat?
It's what keeps me looking so fly.
Really,
this the
Surat
thing?
hasn't showered in 3 months, but she looks
Right.
fresh and so clean.
Ain't
Does this thing
nobody's
have the
fresh as me.
dragon scales?
It's a hat of disguise, but I don't use it for its correct purpose.
Okay, so it's not related to the dragon scale.
No, no, no. It's totally different. I mean, it's all vanity related, but yeah, different reasons.
You want to sleep sitting up.
I just don't want anyone to see me without the hat securely on my head, so.
Lyrases.
Interesting. Can I make a check to see if I notice something weird about Surat in that hat so that I can start trying to like poke it off her head and stuff?
No, that's so mean! I won't heal you.
One of my friends who is completely not a vain person has issues with her hair. And so when she was in the hospital and gave birth, she insisted on blow drying her hair before there were pictures.
Oh
But
my
she's
gosh.
really not a vain person.
Yeah, sometimes people have things.
So do we need to like study that password or do anything in particular? Try to like decode it or anything? Or do we have any books or anything we can figure out how to use a teleport circle? I feel like we found the passcode, but we didn't actually find like a book or anything, did we?
Well, we don't know it's a passcode yet. We just literally just found a word, and there was no obviously instruction onto how to use that or where to use it. So we just know we've got a word. It seemed important, and it might be related to the teleportation circle. So we got nothing to lose by trying it there.
I believe that's a pretty correct summation of what it is. I think the other aspect of it is you found that word in the library and paperwork that Resmir had on, I think, the dragon masks, as well as some of the planar travel notes and things like that.
I feel like it was on a post-it note too, so we know it was like a password.
Yeah, it's like a torn off piece of parchment that's literally the size of the actual word, basically.
Well, there's no better time than the present, right? We're like all perfect and healed up, except for Vicious is a little slow.
Yeah, but are you gonna keep wearing my boots to warm them up, or are you planning on giving them back?
Wait, who has your boots?
I slipped them on you while you were asleep, so you would warm them for me. So when I put them on again, they were nice and warm. Although now I've said that out loud, I realise that's stupid because they would have been warmed on my own feet. Just give him my damn boot.
I'll give him back his boots.
Thanks, mate. I give him a quick sniff before I put them on.
Always let me change his socks for him.
What a quote. He is very sneaky.
I feel you underestimate my sneakiness. So, heading into the underground to check the word.
Yeah, I think so. Does anybody need like any pre-buff spells or anything? Do we have a plan? I mean, if it activates, are we just going to jump in it?
Let's just see if it activates first. Let's not just jump straight in. Let's see, kind of assess the situation.
What could happen like when it activates that we wouldn't want to go in? If something comes out first?
Well, I'll tell you what. If it activates, I'll go in first, and if I don't come back within, like, say, 30 seconds, let's think about this, because if I can't come back, it might mean that it's a one-way trip, and it's not, and it's safe on the other side, or it might mean I'm dead. So let's think about this. If somebody, although it'll probably be me because I'm volunteering, goes through and they don't come back within 30 seconds, what will be the consensus on that?
I think we should just turn it on. If it works, we just all jump in.
All right, go
Yeah.
together, you reckon?
All or nothing, yeah.
I like the idea of having one person on the other side.
I think, genuinely to me, it seems like the most logical thing to do, to be honest with you.
But would you come back then?
Well, I think that because from this is meta knowledge, but they normally work both ways, and it's like sound, so I could come straight back. But ignoring that meta knowledge, I'm willing to just try it and all that, get the hell out of this filthy, disgusting place as soon as possible. And if the coast looks clear, because let's face it, it was in a deserted cave anyway, underground. It's not like it's going to pop out in the middle of like a tavern somewhere full of angry men. It's going to be somewhere nondescript out of the way again, so somebody doesn't stumble across it by accident and use it to teleport back. It's going to be somewhere secluded. So what I think is that I genuinely should go, or anyone, but I'm volunteering and I'm more than happy to do it. I'll go first, check the coast is clear, and then if it's fine, I'll come back. I already know the password, so I can just say the password again and come back.
Okay,
I mean,
if you're volunteering to go first, that's cool.
yeah, I mean, I want to get out of this godforsaken, disgusting place as soon as possible, so I'm up for it.
All right. Well, when we get there, I'll do the ritual unburying of it so it still works again. I'll slowly like kick the dirt off of it.
So, as you all head back into the underground, walking into the same swamped out portion, you see the pool ahead of you. The lights have gone out at this point, and it's complete darkness inside of here.
Oh shit! I'm out of torches. Does anybody have any?
Do I still have light? 1 second.
I don't think there's any reason that you wouldn't have light.
Yep, I've got light. So I'll cast light on my lance. Is it one light at a time? Let me just check.
Yeah, it's a single.
Alright, then because I've got dark vision, I'll cast light on Doc's cigarette.
But that's only going to last for a little while.
Well, it'll encourage him to cut down on his smoking.
Oh, wow. That's so good.
12 seconds later, there's no light.
I'll finish the cigarette and carry the butt around, I guess, for a little bit.
So, Doc's walking around in the classic horror movie trying to hold the matchstick up for light, only it's shedding quite a good bit of light, and you are able to progress across the same room, over the puddle, through it, up to the burned carcass of the crane, and I think you all picked up the ladder last time. No, I think you left the ladder, and the ladder to the south of it.
Moved up on the map. Do I need to add my aura, by the way? I do, don't I? I remember now.
You don't really need an aura now.
Alright, fair enough.
So, crawling down the ladder, everybody's going into the mist.
Are you coming with?
Yes.
If it's messed up, I want you guys close, because if I jump back through the teleportation circle, I'm being chased. I want you guys kind of primed and ready to attack whatever I lead back to you.
Okay, you go first. I'll be second on the ladder.
I moved on the ladder then.
You all start to make your way down the ladder. Again, the mist covers most of the bottom area. As you get to the lower level, you start to progress forward to the west, and then you feel something at your feet as you kick something. It's got a little bit of give, but there almost was the sound of like a clink of metal, perhaps.
Scales?
What was that question there, Sarad?
Scales?
It's probably dead bodies from what you killed.
Do we all notice this? Like when he kicks it, we hear like a clinging of metal.
Essentially, whoever was leading just walked into something.
That would be me then. Guys, there's something here. Does anybody remember leaving anything metallic on the floor amidst all of this creepy mist, or is that something we should be alarmed about immediately?
What's it look like?
Missed. Do you want to investigate it?
I'll investigate.
Yes.
Oh, so I'll help. I'll assist Vicious in investigating then.
You can't see anything, but you can definitely reach down and grab at it. Vicious pulls up the corpse of a frog person, of a bullywug.
Was this you guys, or
I don't think this was on.
But why is it metal?
Armor. It's not Iron
Oh.
Man. Just tools.
are they good tools?
Looks like a dagger. Like a knife.
Free dagger to a good home, then, guys.
Like, can I get up to it with the cigarette and see? Does it look like it's like we could tell how it was killed? Was it like burned? Was it stabbed? Was it?
Do a medicine check. It seems to have bled out. It's hard to actually tell what the wound would have actually been from.
But it wasn't. But this was not our doing, right? We didn't kill any bullywugs here.
We left a few of them back behind there guarding the teleport circle. We should be on guard in case something came through. Could we tell if it looked like it was running away from that area, like facing towards the castle, like the opposite direction we're coming?
By the time you would have seen it, Vicious was holding it up in the air. So there's not really like a clue as to what direction it might have been moving.
I got you. Yes, we should just prepare just in case. And then I guess I'll kind of get up where Arlisle is and start walking at pace with him in the front with my cigarette butt. All out. Beggars can't be choosers, but next time, can you at least wait till I light a fresh one?
Well, it was fresh when I lit it. That's all I'm saying.
And then I'm game to just keep creeping on through. Is the map accurate now? Do you want us to move our actual tokens?
The map is almost never useful unless you guys need the map. Most of the time, I 100% think showing a map distracts the fuck out of you while moving forward.
Okay, yeah, then I'll just walk like 2x up front with Arlisle, and then I don't know about anybody else's marching order.
So, as you two start to move forward, it's another 5 or 10 feet before you kick another thing at your feet. Seems to be on the ground.
We'll investigate that one and see, does it appear I can tell how it was killed, assuming it's another dead frog?
Take another few minutes and do a medicine check. Got a like a blade wound to its side, but you can't quite tell whether it was something from behind or from in front that came at this thing. But you do gather that its head was facing like to the east, so it probably fell over in the position that it was in, landing face forward. So perhaps it was running from the teleporter.
We should assume the worst. I think more than likely we've got some company.
Well, misery loves company, mate. So let's keep our eyes open and keep moving forwards. We know that it's a dead end this way, apart from the teleportation circle. There is nothing behind us, so
Sounds good to me.
Starting to move forward a little bit more, you come into contact with something else. There seems to be like a few different bodies in the way.
I'm gonna ready a bow shot for if I see anything hostile looking.
Doesn't seem to be anything in this immediate corridor. The mist is still going into all three directions. There's no light to the southwest, no light to the northwest, and it's still darkness to the southeast. You still hear some of the drips of water, but there's no sounds of frogs or really anything at this point.
All right, we'll keep moving towards the teleporter.
I mean, at this point, are we all together pretty much?
I think you're all about where my token is, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep moving up with you guys.
So you climb over another, feels kind of slimy like the others. Climb over another, feels slimy. And then get one more. This one's a little bit thinner and seems to be robed.
So some form of magic user, I'm guessing, rather than a warrior.
Yeah, can we discern anything by looking at that one in particular?
What are you looking for?
Like what he said, if it seems like it was a magic user or if we recognized who it was.
You can do investigation or perception.
Can I help him in the search?
If you've got perception, yeah. Otherwise, you can do investigation on your own.
Don't have perception, so
I do.
I think it's too late because I've already said it. Sorry,
Okay.
and that's usually the way we do it.
I mean, normally somebody assisting has to have proficiency.
Okay, then I'll butt out, and Sarad, if you want to do it,
Yeah. Does that just give Doc advantage?
I think so.
Or do I
At
roll?
this point, it's a separate roll. Once he's already thrown
Okay.
it, you can't choose to take the advantage.
Just in the past, nice one. Just because in the past we've avoided doing like chain rolls because otherwise you can just sort of cheese it by everyone taking a turn at doing the roll.
So you see an actual necklace of a dragon. It appears to be a 5-headed dragon in this like pewter pendant. This magic user seems to be stabbed through a few times, having been injured, and it seems to be a cultist. Beyond that, there's little else to kind of pick up visually looking over the person.
Hey, Verthis, I imagine there can't be too many 5-headed dragons knocking around out there. Is this some kind of dragon of some repute?
I think you all should be well aware at this point that Tiamat is the 5-headed dragon.
Oh, right, I didn't know that was meta knowledge or not. Okay, it's Tiamat. These are definitely cultists.
And Verthis, I believe your mic is broken right now, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, I haven't heard him in some time.
Oh, sorry.
I saw the green come on, though, in the last few messages.
Let's just wait a sec then for Teddy to...
So you seem to stumble across a dead cultist and 4 dead bullywugs in this little corridor.
Well, we know there's only one way in and one way out, so they must have come through the circle.
Still nothing.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, it's the next one has a feature. If it's too far up, it's off. Weird.
We can hear you now, though.
Fantastic. So this pendant, I mean, it was on this caster's corpse or this thin robed man, right?
Yarp.
I mean, obviously, yes, Tiamat pendant and so forth. I mean, I ask anybody if they want it. If they don't, I pretty much will kind of like take it from the corpse.
Is it shiny?
It's like a dull gray more than a shiny.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would see if I can repurpose this later.
You're not switching sides, are you, Verthus? I thought that was your sworn enemy.
Oh, there's more than one purpose to a pendant like this. What if I had to walk into one of a cultist's lair? Pretty,
Still
you
call
know.
them.
Yeah, maybe I'm corrupted. Who knows? Or I'll put it on one of you, and then you can infiltrate.
Oh, no
No.
implications. I was just curious.
If their heads are intact, would it be worthwhile trying to speak with them? And by head, I really just mean skull, like, or just the mouth part.
Can't be a bad idea. How much energy does it cost you? Is it worthwhile? Maybe try it on the cultist and see who they came with and what their purpose is?
Yeah, I can try that. So I'll cast Speak with Dead.
While she's doing this, I want to be like lookout style, making sure nobody's coming while like they're kind of focused on what's going on.
All right, so you can see 20 feet away from you where you're at, and then for like 20 feet of shadow that you can basically make the outline. So pick where you'd like to be.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
I like the dying to ask part.
I'm gonna go right here to the corner, and I'm gonna just kind of keep an eye, kind of checking all three ways. But mostly, I'm focused. I think mostly I'm focused to the south, directly south of me, right there, while this is going on.
Fine, I'll keep a watch down the corridor I'm standing at the end of. I have no questions I want to ask.
I mean, I think I'd like to ask who they came with, where they came from. Is that a good one?
I mean, maybe suggest like maybe what what happened to them to lead them to their death, and why are they back? And also how to open up the portal.
I thought we knew how to open up the portal.
Always good to confirm, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if we don't have 5 questions, that should be one of them.
I'm not much for magic, so I trust y'all's judgment.
I guess what killed them and if there's a chance that it would come after us, which is kind of 2 questions, but you figure it out.
Yeah, sorry. I thought Teddy's questions were very good. So why are they down here? Who killed them? And yeah. And yeah, the teleporter thing. Because we don't know to use it. So that we've got a word on a piece of paper, and it could be something to do with the teleport. We just don't know that.
Okay, so I guess I'll cast the spell and start asking my 5 questions. Let me pull it up on.
You see as the eyes slowly blink open, and it stares up at you with its jaw just like cracked into the side.
I'm sorry you had to go this way. How did this happen to you? How did you die?
I was stabbed.
Oh no. He's gonna break it down.
First time, eh?
Who killed you?
I'm dead. It's trying to like look around, but it can't move its neck too far.
Yeah, I'm sorry you are dead. So we just want to know how this happened. How yeah, who killed you?
We came to take the castle. Killed by bullywugs.
Maybe you should ask it. Did it come through the teleport?
Did you come through the teleportation circle?
Yes. And the eyes close and it falls back.
Ah, rude.
What a bitch. But that's a good sign, so we know that we can come back this way.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully it's the same password both
Got a
ways.
two-parter out of there where you asked the same question.
Well, I figured since he asked me one, that negated one of mine. It's like, yes, you are dead.
But I mean, it's good. That's good information overall. Ish. You know,
Ish.
with this, with asking
Yeah.
the dead, they're always sneaky bastards and try and be difficult. But it's a case of we know that they were killed by bullywogs because they were coming to take the castle and they came through the teleportation circuit. So therefore, we know that whatever on the other side of that wanted to take this castle for some reason.
Yeah, I guess take it back. I didn't realize this was such desirable property. It looks pretty run down.
Well, they were cultists as well, weren't they? So this was the cultists wanted this castle.
And we also know that the military manual on disabling portals is incorrect.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, it looks like I'll have to tear that page out and put it up for review.
Is Doc from the soldier background?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, whatever army it was he came from, mate, they are horribly misinformed.
That FM 1-1 man needs revision.
Yeah, it never was much for the manual. It's full of shit. Propaganda. I guess I'll keep creeping up towards the teleporter. That way.
Yeah, I'll come with.
Before we move that way, can we hear any movement or anything coming from that end of the tunnel?
What end and perception check?
The tunnel towards, we know where the portal room is, so towards the portal room.
Yeah. I'm almost always looking for a cardinal direction. That way
West.
never like describes anything to me. But no, you don't hear anything coming from that direction. There's little bits of dripping, but otherwise this place is even more silent than it was before.
Okay. I mean, I have a kind of a feeling what happened in the southeast and the southwest. So if the cultists came back, I imagine we're going to find a whole bunch of dead bullywogs, if unless you want to see if there's any survivors.
I'm good to just keep going up and check out the teleporter.
So slowly moving forward, doesn't appear to be any more obstructions, and eventually you make your way into the little cavern, and eventually find that same area where the teleporter is lightly obscured by the mist, but otherwise where you last left it.
Okay, so let's go over the plan one more time. I'll go through first. Seems like it might be a bit sketchy if we've got some of these cultists coming through it, but that's fine. I'll go through. We know we can come back. I'll say the password again to come back through. If I'm not back in 30 seconds, what are we saying? Everyone arms themselves to the teeth, gets ready and comes through, or are you all just going to leave it for now? I think you should probably arm yourselves to the teeth and follow me through, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm down to just jump in as soon as it works, if it works.
Alright, so we'll do that, and I'll go through first. I'll come back straight away if it looks clear. So instead of 30 seconds, because I'll need to look around and investigate, call it a minute. If I'm not back in a minute, then I'll jump through. But if the coast is clear and it looks okay, I'll come back. Tell you in what I saw.
Okay, it's like hide and seek. You gotta count to 100.
Except everyone's a loser. So we all ready?
Ready?
Alright, what was the magic word again?
Enos.
Penis.
Nothing
Where's
happens.
Hadar?
Yeah, where's Hadar?
what? Uh, uh, I'm
Top
here.
left corner. Come top left corner, mate.
Oh, I just didn't move my token.
Did we ever actually find out what the code word was?
Yeah, I read it because I
Yeah.
couldn't understand it, and so did Verfus, I think.
But as long as we can pronounce it, it should be fine.
Yeah, I can speak. Was it Celestial?
That's right, it was celestial.
But I have forgotten what the word was, though.
So do we each need to know how to say it?
Well, once you hear me say it, you'll all just have to repeat it.
All right, I want to look at the paper and see. Is it just a word we don't recognize, but we can obviously just say it?
Yeah, I feel like it would be the type of thing where 3 of you can say it. So you know those 3 people are the ones who have to be, on some level, the gatekeepers of this.
All right, so I'll stand there at the ready then, and if there's trouble, I'm definitely gonna say the word and jump in.
Alright, so after 1 minute, if I don't come back, then jump in.
Yeah, we'll buddy up and jump in.
Or maybe all just stand in a circle at the same time and then say it, and then you'll all go through. Or actually, no, because it will be active probably still, so just all jump in together at the same time, I guess.
Did anybody write it down?
I was drinking pretty heavily, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, what that? We should have the piece of paper, right? That it was on.
Yeah, who kept it?
Hey, I've got it. I picked it up and I took it and I showed it to Verfus, I think. And Doc as well. They could read Celestial.
But nobody as a player actually took the time to write it down.
No.
I did
Wonderful.
write it, but it looks like, you know when you underline something with a wiggly line, that's what my handwriting for that word looks like, so.
Drazier. And I'm assuming that Arlyle is sitting there, like, patting himself, like, what was the password?
Yeah, shit, guys. What did you give me to smoke, Doc? God damn it.
There's maybe a trace of opium in there.
Oh, great. Now I'm a heroin addict. Thanks, mate. Alright, I say everyone's just stand back a little bit. Everyone stand back at least 10 feet away from the circle. And then once everyone's back a little bit, and I'm about 5 feet away from the circle, I'm gonna say Drazier.
As you say the name, the seal around the edge of the circle starts to glow in a, like, deep amber golden color. And as it starts to glow, the mist kind of gets pushed back and away from it, and this entire charm across the ground starts to become more and more visible, and there's a loud boom that's just building into a louder and a louder sound.
I guess that's good. Seems positive. So I activate my sacred weapon through channel divinity. And I step into the circle.
Arlyle steps in and disappears. The capacitance is still building.
I start counting.
I'm gonna take a drink out of my flask and jump in.
Doc disappears.
We were supposed to count.
Yep, there's our party as always, following the plan.
I'm gonna keep counting and wait till 100 or Arlyle comes back.
Yeah. I nudge you and I say, we have to count to 60.
Well, I thought 100 was better because I'm counting faster.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, you do you. And once 60 seconds has passed, I guess we say Drazier and go through.
Oh, am I able to come back though after 60 seconds though? So that was the plan.
Approximately as you are counting to 60, the power dissipates, the room gets dark, and the hum disappears.
We better go
Doc
through.
and Arlyle, let me take you to a private chat here.
Right. Behave, you guys.
So,
Hello.
can you all speak in here right now?
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear and
As
talk.
you step through, the initial feeling that you are going to get is cold. The temperature is probably 30 or 40 degrees colder, where you were just muggy and hot and just like wet with sweat from the swamp. You're now in a very dry, cool, chilled air. And as your sweat starts to evaporate from your skin, you feel frigid. It's going to be hard to gauge how cold it is with that jump, but at present you feel this cold just bite into you. You feel a soft wind crossing over your body, and your eyes are starting to adjust, but you're just in a very blinding white light, and it's just too much to actually be able to see around you. After a few moments pass by, you see a couple of pillars of stone ahead of you. A few more moments, you're looking around and you start to see there's green and then the gray of more of these stones, maybe. And you kind of make out that you're inside of a clearing. And after a moment, your vision kind of starts to clarify and you're looking down over a valley from on high. You can actually see the mountain ridge behind you, and it goes up. You're somewhere in the mountains. You're freezing, There's forest around you and a valley below you, and it's completely silent. If you look around, there's no portal on this side.
Well, I guess we aren't going back through to let them know it's okay.
Yeah, sounds about right. Hopefully they just come through on their own. I'm not sure where through is, but we're here. Couldn't let you go by yourself, buddy.
Well, I appreciate that, but I figured if one person was going to die, that would be better than the whole party jumping through and dying at the same time. But yeah, where do you think we are? Do you reckon we're anywhere near we saw through that telescope, maybe?
I have no clue, but we're obviously nowhere nearby.
Are you cold? Do you need, to share body heat, or are you okay?
I'm all right for now, my friend, but I'm all out of torches, so better figure something out. So when we look around, there's no portal, nothing we could see, anything like that?
There's stone structures that almost make like a lintel, but there's no visible signs of the teleportation circle where you're at.
So are we under a roof, or is it literally just stone pillars?
Open air. It's very much like stone structures from Neolithic age, how they're just like massive stones, like stood all on end, standing stones.
Stonehenge.
Probably just sit tight and hope the others come through. You
I
know how
guess.
long it's been since we came through here? Is it within a minute?
It's got to have been a couple seconds.
It takes about a minute for you all to gain your sight and to really gain your composure from that jump. But with that, I'm going to drag you all back, so you two need to be silent for a while.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, so they disappear, you all finish your count, and there's nothing.
So just the circle just dies down?
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess the rest of us should go through. Arm ourselves to the teeth.
All right, I'll have my hand axes ready to go because I'm not sure what we've got coming.
So gathering everybody up and trying again.
Yeah, with Verthus. I guess he's the one who'll have to say it.
Let me have you roll a D100, Rithus.
Sure.
As the four of you all stand around, when Verthus utters the word in Celestial, again the glow starts to build, the hum starts to rise, and after a few moments the entire sigil is lit up, and it seems to be at like a full capacitance.
All right, here we go, I guess. Does anyone need to do anything before we go through?
I mean, draw my weapon and get ready to enter this portal.
I'll cast Shillelagh.
Yeah, I've got my hand axes ready, but I'm not turning on rage yet. I don't know what's there.
Everyone jumping through?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Adar, picnic? Said they've got sandwiches on the other side.
BLTs.
Somebody dangle a ration from your belt before you jump in.
Assuming maybe Jan's just away, but that's my timer for when the
I'm
portal
back
would...
here.
Alright,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you go through with everybody?
Yeah, I'm going through with everybody.
Do you need to do anything before you go through, Hadar?
No.
Hadar does not have a chance. As he's like just sitting there, it starts to lose capacitance and he leaps through at the last moment. So, yeah, that 87 ruined any sort of suspense. As you all go through, your initial feeling is going to be just blinded in white light absolutely freezing flesh as your temperature seems to drop almost 40 degrees. The muggy, moist air of the swamp in the cave is immediately like freezing and crystallizing on your skin as there's a slight breeze, and it just feels like you're gonna turn to ice just standing here. And as your eyes clear a little bit, getting used to the sun, you start to see massive gray pillars in front of you and just splotches of green. Looking around, there's a sea of blue ahead of you, and you start to gain a little bit more senses as you look around. You're in some sort of a clearing in trees. You're standing high on a mountain ridge overlooking a large valley, and there appears to be massive standing stones of rocks just built up inside of this clearing. And you all are standing in the center of it, and I think Doc and Arlyle are touching each other's butts.
Purely for warmth.
Guys, you had us worried.
Well, I mean, sorry about that, but if you look, there's no way back for some reason. There's no circle here.
Oh,
Oh,
There's no DHD on this side of the Stargate.
You're just standing in a circle of stones. There's about 6 or 8 different sets of stones, sets of 3, with 2 vertical and 1 like stood across as a lintel. A few of them have fallen and collapsed with time. 4 of them seem to remain, but you are standing in front of one doorway.
So while we look around, do we see like any tracks in the snow or anything?
No snow. You're in greenery. You're just high up in the mountain.
Oh, okay. It's just cold, but no snow. What about? Is there like a clear path, basically, like leading somewhere?
You can do a survival check. I have to run to the restroom though, so I'll be back in a minute.
We made it to Stonehenge.
that's what I was thinking.
yeah. I'm going to ask whether there's. It doesn't sound like it, but is there a thing behind us that we kind of would have come through? You know.
Oh, I was sort of getting the picture that like maybe the rocks have like the carvings on them or something, and they're like the teleport circle, but it's just not like a circle drawn on the ground. That's the impression I got.
Right. That's what I mean. Because there are 4 gates, more or less. Like which
Cool.
one would have come through?
Maybe we have to put them back if some have fallen, and then it'll work.
Why are we trying to go back all of a sudden? I thought we were trying to get out of that swamp.
Right.
That's true.
It's not like we care about going back necessarily. I just wondered.
Yeah, it's just it was relatively safe on that side. It's always good to have an exit, isn't it? Because currently we have no idea where we are in all 360 degrees around us. So
True.
So just looking around from where you're at, Doc, you can see that there seems to be paths leading out of almost every single set of arches, and they just kind of lead straight off almost in a spoke.
Judging by these footprints, your guess is as good as mine. As we kind of look out, do we see anything that appears like civilized, like any fire or like light or anything in particular? What time of like day or night is it currently?
The sun's still rising. It's still quite early in the morning. 7 or 8. It seems to be the same sun that you would have kind of left behind from the castle, and just moved into this. You've just seemed to have moved from a swamp to a mountainside.
at least we're in the same time zone still.
Yes, it appears that location has changed, but that is all. I will lick my pointer finger and hold it up in the air and check to see which direction the wind is blowing from.
Northeast.
The wind is blowing from the northeast. Y'all know what that means.
No,
Stand
what's it
upwind from
mean?
you?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, don't stand southwest of you, as Surface is saying.
I believe I was the last one to actually take a bath. It's been a while since I've seen any of you in water.
Don't need to take a bath, you never get dirty, mate.
Well, like you stay dirty. I'm gonna start leading off to the. I guess I'll follow the path like the normal way, not down like the cliffside. I don't suppose we're just gonna find the password to return just laying around somewhere. But before we go, maybe it's worth saying that word again and see if it works both ways.
Are you gonna say it?
Oh yeah, I mean I was waiting to see if anybody else chimed in, but I'll say it. Yeah.
Where are you doing it? What are you doing?
I mean, I'm just gonna stand back outside of like the stone circle or whatever and say it like I don't know how many feet I have to be within it or whatever, but I'll just kind of shout it out once everybody's clear of the circle, obviously.
Just at like one random stone, or the ones that you were standing in front of?
Oh, I thought we just like popped out kind of in that circle, so I got the impression that like that stone circle was like the circle. So I would say it like at that circle, I guess.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Do I see anything on the headstones? Any like carvings or engravings or anything?
Roll an investigation. They're pretty worn smooth. There seems to be some white that maybe pot marks parts of them, but it's hard to tell whether it's an actual like aspect of the stone itself or if there was once writing inside of these things.
I'm gonna guess that each of these stones is a different location, and if you know the keyword, if you touch the right stone while saying the right word, you'll teleport to the corresponding circle as a complete guess. So
Well,
if
that
you,
stinks.
yeah, so if you knew which one of these stones corresponds to the word that we know for the teleportation back to the fort castle, and we touched it and said the word, we might be able to get back, but do we want to go back? I don't really. It was filthy.
Like you said, though, it might be a decent idea to have some sort of an escape plan. Perhaps we should give it a try. There's only like 8 rocks here, so maybe
Alright.
it's worth it.
Take 4 each. Start from the north side. You take the one slightly to the northwest. I take the one slightly to the northeast. Then one by one. If you're in up for it, mate, we'll touch each stone and say the trigger word on each one.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty good idea. I mean, at least while we're here, we know if there's any possibility of getting out of here or not.
All 6 of you are just going around in circles saying it?
Whilst
I think
touching
it
the
works
rock.
better if we do it together at one feet at a time.
If you all stand clear, then I'm going to go around and touch each rock one at a time. And as I touch each one, I'm going to say the trigger word.
Alright, and which one are you starting at?
I'll start at the one at 1 o'clock. And I'll go clockwise.
Gotcha. Roll a D100 for me.
88.
So you go to the first stone, Drazier. Nothing happens. You move to the next stone, do the same thing. Nothing happens. And you continue on and on and on. And it doesn't seem like anything's happening. You get to the last stone, reach up to it, say Drazier, and in a flash, there's a puddle of gold that fills the stone. And it's just silent.
Well, at least we made some money. How much gold is it?
You touch it,
Sure, why not?
Carlisle disappears.
Yeah, could have gone that. So, do we all want to go through this?
Yeah, I mean, if he's
Sounds
stuck in a
like-
place.
Yeah, sounds like we've got our answer though. So is the pile just sitting there after he goes?
It's the same thing. It's activated for a minute. So once he casts it, it lasts for a minute. And if you touch the break the surface, you will disappear as you are pulled through into the swamp.
Perfect. I'll just wait here for a minute and see if he comes back through.
Everybody waiting?
Okay, I'll count.
Oh,
Okay.
as everybody just completely ignores that Arlisle disappeared. Arlisle, I need you to roll another D100.
Okay, one sec.
I was gonna go too, but last time it kind of hurt my tummy.
There we
23.
go. Arlisle does not return. A minute goes by. 2 minutes go by.
Ah,
Right, we gotta go through.
When you guys touch the stone and you say anything, nothing happens.
Try touching the pool of gold.
There's no longer a pool. It's gone.
Uh-oh.
Guys, where did Ale go? I think we lost him. But I believe there's nothing we can do here, so wanna head out?
I love that.
Well,
Well,
you're not trying to kill my characters. You're trying to just leave them behind. I'll always remember this guy.
Yeah, but we don't know how to get you.
You know, there are times to be optimistic and there are times to make decisions.
wow.
Remember that time that we left John's character in the sealed bubble on the other plane?
When he got thrown in Donjon in the dungeon, you guys didn't leave him. You don't have a chance to get to him.
Can I try going through the whole circle the way he did?
Yeah, nothing happens.
Oh my
It'll
gosh,
be
you
in here
guys.
that you all depleted the power that this thing had built up.
Oh, what are we gonna do?
Maybe it resets overnight.
That's a good thought. Yeah.
I really want to offer ideas, but I know I'm not allowed.
Yeah, but Wishes, do you know anything about magic? I don't do, but do you?
No, I have no idea about magic, but the only idea I would have is to start knocking the blocks over, and that would definitely not work.
That is a very vicious idea.
Does Vicious knock over the stones?
I am not knocking the stones over because that would not work.
Vicious
I mean-
negotiates with her maul?
Oh, we just talked about how maybe we even had to fix them to make it work. So I feel like she would know not to not to destroy them.
I'm not destroying them. I'm saying that, I don't know anything about magic, but it might be a thing that resets. Other magic things can only be used once a day.
That's actually really good logic, Vicious. Maybe we can find someone somewhere in this wilderness who knows how the circle works and isn't trying to kill us.
Yeah, I believe that now that we're at Stonehenge, we are not far from Merlin and Arthur with his blade.
Are these people you know? Do you know where we are?
I just wanted to make a joke.
Yes, what you said makes sense, Vicious. You probably know as much of magic as I do, but perhaps if we just wait a day or so, he'll come through. But the truth is, time will pass either way. So, should we try and explore the area, or should we just hang tight?
Yeah, I think we should do some exploring.
So you all are walking away.
Yeah.
Arlisle,
That
how
sounds so
often?
ominous.
I'm just trying to get decisions from you all. Arlisle, how often are you testing from within the swamp?
I imagine I'm sort of just like shouting at it and I might even get to the point where I like cut my palm of my hand with something sharp and then plant my bloody hand on the floor over the seal and everything. Try a few different things. I'd say as often as every 2 minutes. I'll probably try again.
Gotcha. How long until you bleed yourself?
Well, I did only do the palm thing once, and I'd learned my lesson quite quickly from that. I might even at some point take off my shoes and put them in the middle of the circle and then roll away from it so I don't get my feet dirty and then shout it from nearby.
And how long until all of you leave the circle and start to explore?
I think somebody should stay here in case he comes back.
I think we should leave a note and then move on.
Yeah, probably something like a bone or something. I think that would be a great message.
Yeah, Haydar, you can leave a trail of breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Is he capable of leaving breadcrumbs alone?
Yeah.
Although he wouldn't do that because he wouldn't waste food.
I mean, I guess we could wait around for a little bit and see if he shows up, but who knows how long it's going to be.
I like the idea of a note, but how do we leave a note?
So I imagine probably like an hour goes by of us talking about what we're going to do without actually doing anything.
This party? No way.
See if Arlisle just shows up within the first hour randomly.
Well, I'm trying to get an assessment of what the weather will be like.
You create a little breeze.
Okay. Does it look cold, or does it feel like how cold it is right now?
It feels chilly.
Lick my pointer finger and hold it up and see if the druid fake breeze is coming from the same direction as the real breeze.
Arlisle, roll a D100 for me.
Two. Should have known, man. I mean, remember my roll for my one before, mate. You should know.
All because you couldn't help but touch the golden puddle. So yeah, after about an hour of debating what you all should do, have you come to a conclusion?
Yeah, how tall are the trees in the distance?
Like the edge of the clearing, most of the trees are probably 30 to 40 feet tall.
Okay, well, worst case, I have Sacred Flame, and I can just shoot it up into the sky, and that'll clear. So we can, shoot flares, and he'll know where we are. And we'll leave a little note. I have parchment, I think.
So you all are gonna shoot flares into the sky?
No.
We don't know when that would be appropriate.
That's true. Man, everyone makes really good points.
I like to imagine Sarad is like about to shoot a sacred flame, and Verthus just shaking his head like, please God, no.
I mean, let's not analyze this to death. Let's move on. Arla will come back when he does. We check back in a few hours, just periodically, if we can, come back. Otherwise, we're just going to stand here and do nothing for the end of the session.
Right.
Sure. Okay. So can we just affix a small note to one of the rocks?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
Uphill, downhill, north, or south? Downhill is east, uphill is west.
From our vantage point, do we see anything other than these hinges? Do we see any other signs of civilization, so to speak? Towers, anything man-made?
From within the grove, there's little else to see. You're able to see off into the distance, but there doesn't appear to be anything, and you're so far away from everything, it's not that you're seeing details into this plane. You're seeing off this, mountain range.
All right, and west is uphill?
Correct.
I vote west, higher vantage ground to see if we can see more.
Sure.
I will pull out a dagger and scrape a very clear arrow in the direction that we're going.
All right, so progressing uphill, you all do group survival for me, and then Arlau roll another D100.
$99.
Talk about polar opposites.
All right. So after about an hour of hiking uphill, you all are kind of looking around. You don't really seem to have. I think that's the fucking clearing. And you're just outside of the clearing after an hour of walking. And you see Arlau standing there.
Oh, how did you find us, Arlisle?
I am pissed at you.
Did you get our note?
What fucking note?
Oh,
Did you not put a pile of gold on the floor in front of the stone and then say it again? No?
we tried. It disappeared.
What, you put an additional pile of gold there after the one that disappeared?
Oh, we did not think to try that. No.
Probably wouldn't have worked anyway, so I guess that's fair.
Just out of curiosity, how'd you get up here?
Well, I kept using the circle and then I've just appeared here, so it seems somewhat inaccurate in its locating where it sends you, I guess.
They're talking to you from just outside of the grove of trees.
I mean, we've been hiking for an hour. So yeah, I guess it sends you totally in a different spot.
Thought you were stood around for an hour.
We did. and then we started hiking. I mean, you've been gone for 2 or 3 hours.
How long was I gone for? Wasn't it about an hour?
No, like the first check that I had you do would have been after an hour. So yeah, that's 2 hours basically that you were sitting there frustrated after an hour before they gave up, and then you basically walked in after they had been exploring for an hour.
So I didn't appear in the circle of stones, and I appeared in the clearing where they are.
No, they just didn't leave the clearing. They walked in a big ass circle and came
Oh, that's
back
good.
to the clearing.
Our party is excellent. The definition of success.
I mean, we got, what, a group survival of 1527 divided by 5 because Hadar didn't even roll. So they definitely didn't do a good job exploring.
So proud of you. They've all got one leg longer than another.
We all stayed alive. That's a survival.
It's only because Hadar didn't roll.
Oh,
I mean, even if Hadar had rolled with those trash rolls, they weren't getting anywhere quick.
I just meant because he would die.
you see, I don't make effort there.
This is your oldest character, man.
Yeah. Somehow.
So, you have Arlisle back with you all. You all have not actually left the Circle of Stones. Continue uphill.
Was there footprints or something going this way, was there?
I'm not going that way again. I've learned my lesson. It clearly leads back to here. I mean, let's use our brains. Let's go the opposite direction.
I mean, what can we see if we're uphill already? If we look out to the east, is there anything
It's
we see of
still
interest?
within tree cover. So if you're going to the west, you're looking to get above the tree level in the mountains, which there's some there. You'll eventually get there. You see mountain peaks, but you have to get above the tree level if you're going to try to get a sight onto the coast or onto the plain. Do you all have somebody who wants to lead that? Does anybody have proficiency in survival?
Not I.
Because I got proficiency in being smooth and persuasive. Can I persuade somebody into having proficiency in survival?
Nope,
Yeah,
no
so-
proficiency here.
You all use most of the rest of this day to climb to the highest peak and start to get above the tree cover. It feels, looking up into the sky, it seems like it's well past high sun, and you are able to look down. There seems to be there seems to be a lot of cloud cover from this height, but you do gather there seems to be some sort of habitation to the east of you all that you could probably make your way to. You see like the signs of the smoke kind of rising from it. And beyond that, there seems to be different places in the valley itself. None of them are extremely close to where you're at, but you could either go south and east to somewhere, or you can go north and east to get somewhere. And then from the other side of the mountain, there appears that there is an option to go to the almost directly west of where you're at.
And which way was it that you said looked more like a town?
No, it's like a single smokestack. Not like those three general directions, southeast, northeast, and west, are where you would be heading towards like larger habitations. But they're all much further away.
I mean, I would vote then, now that we see a sign of civilization, or at least a single, inhabitant of this valley, I would say That sounds like the next course of action to find out some information. Maybe somebody, it could be a cultist house. Maybe somebody knows about the portals. Maybe they know how to activate the other portals. It sounds like a good starting place before, I guess, moving on.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me. We either find who we're looking for or find someone else that can point us in the right direction.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me have everybody roll Constitution saving throws.
That's encouraging. Everyone's +3 except me.
We have one person who survives.
No, y'all are good. It's definitely a strong, bit of a harrowing journey as you all start to approach this area where you spotted the like smoke coming up. You start to smell the actual wood burning stoves, and it's getting well into dusk where light is failing and grays are the predominant visual cues as you all finish heading down through the mountain and eventually spot a large stone and wooden structure ahead of you, about 3 or 4 stories tall. It's got like 2 main sides to this house and a large open like veranda between the 2 like peaks of the actual like roof to the sides, and then it has a large gate about 200 or 300 feet in front of the actual house itself, and this gate has a massive like wrought iron and fleur-de-lis kind of preparation to it.
This looks promising. Do we see like some sort of like knocker or way to open it?
The gate itself would have like a little like latch to it, but yeah, you think you could open the gate?
All right. Well, I will unlatch it and announce myself. Doctors here as ordered.
Roll a performance. You call out, wait for a moment. Doesn't seem to be any response.
And does it open the gate?
Yeah, you can open the latch and it swings pretty free. It doesn't really seem to have too much stick to it.
I will look back at the rest of the party and shrug my shoulders and keep walking in.
I'm going to give Doc a hand signal that he will never understand.
I follow Doc.
I mean, we could also check around back. But yeah, we can walk in.
He has a
I
growth.
mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think people like snoopers, you know?
So are we, just to clarify now, is this just like a gate that leads just to like further outside, but it was like a walled area? Or are we like inside a building now?
You're still outside of it. So now you're like inside of like almost what would be kind of like a lawn, but you're very much still like in nature in this spot. The gate is far more perhaps like ceremonial than it is to accomplish things, because you're just in the middle of this like wilderness and then there was a gate.
I got you. And now, do we see any kind of structure or anything on this side of the gate, or did we just walk into a gate to like a different land, but nothing changed?
I think it's the same view. Like you see this, like the lodge ahead of you. Here's like a general picture. Again, this would be in blacks and whites as it is dusk, but
Okay, I got you. We do see a lodge in front of us. I got you.
yeah, like
So
the
we
gate is a few hundred feet out from that, so you have to enter into it long before you're approaching the lodge itself.
Okay, perfect. I thought that there was a structure, but I wasn't 100% sure. So, okay, so I guess we would just keep walking up towards the structure then.
Is there a smell in the air as we get closer?
Wood burning.
Just wood burning and nothing organic.
Roll a perception check.
Guidance?
He's not really calling out like somebody help me smell.
Okay.
You have a 6-second spell to cast to guide him as part of my point there.
That's
I
fine.
call out, somebody help me smell.
Smells like wood burning.
Okay, so there's no bodies. And no food, Hadar.
Looks about as civilized as anything I'd care to find out here. Doc will approach the door.
Has everybody followed Doc in?
Yep.
Yes. That's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have sending. If someone, well, what would be the point though?
I think you need to know who you're sending to as well.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, what would be the point of half of us staying out here?
You would notice that Doc's standing in front of the door, and he starts to like kind of fix his hair a little bit, fluff it up a little, and then he like licks his fingers and sort of like twists his mustache. Looks back at everybody, lights a cigarette. I never know who's going to be inside.
But before actually having you approach that far, did somebody stay outside? Otherwise, I'm assuming everybody has walked inside of the gate.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
moment the
sociable thing to do.
The moment the last person walks through the gate, it slams, and then you hear a as it seems like a piece of metal drops.
Do we see where the metal dropped?
You can look behind you, but it sounds like it's the gate has locked. You want to take some time to investigate it?
Yeah, I mean, because you said it was. I mean, I got the impression that it was like a flimsy gate because you said it looked more ceremonial than functional.
In like a medieval sort of war kind of days, it's not like the outside of a keep that's going to hold back armies. It's a wrought iron gate, roughly head high, with like the spikes of fleur-de-lises. But you can roll an investigation here as you look over the lock.
Anyone know magic? No.
I can try investigation. Can you give me some support there?
Yeah, I'll do that. Here.
She's the one who asked about it. You did not ask about the gate.
Okay.
That's my point, is
We'll
it
see
sounds
if
like it got Sarad's attention. Everybody else just ignored the fact that I had a gate lock behind you.
Alright, good point.
It seems to be a locked gate.
You guys, the gate is locked. That's. I don't like this.
First time being tricked by cannibals, eh?
Doc would just look back and say, "Oh, that's just auto lock. It's not that big of a deal. We did just go through a teleportation circle."
I turn to the door and I shout, Drazier!
Nothing happens. After about 18-20 seconds, The door starts to open slowly. What was all the shouting out here? Oh, welcome. Master expects you. Come in, please. The tiny little human standing about like 3.5, 4 feet tall, who's just kind of shriveled up and looks a lot like a raisin, and they're just holding the door open to you.
Ah, perfect. He's expecting us, is he? And Doc will walk in.
I'll say, oh, pleased to meet you. My name is Sarad. What's your name?
Magbell, it's wonderful to meet you too, Sarad.
And who is your master?
She kind of gets a little hesitant and stiff as she's shaking her hand. I need you to roll a do either persuasion, deception, or just a straight wisdom here. Depends on what you want to do.
What am I responding to?
To you saying, and who's your master? And her muscles getting stiff.
Oh. Okay.
It's
Well,
how
the
are
fault's
you
hers, by the way.
saying, who's your master?
Because if she was being genuine, she would have said mistress, so it was her fault we got the gender wrong.
Kind of like tilts her head a little bit as the hand she's shaking with gets like real stiff as her muscles kind of go tense.
Ow, 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 I'm not that strong.
What are you all here for?
Doc will say from behind her now, having already entered, to see the mistress, of course. She available?
She is expecting us and knows your names.
Yes, yes. I'll just yell for her real quick. Trepsin! Oh, Trepsin! Some guests are here to see you.
A cannibal.
Come, you can just sit here in the sitting room and just wait, and Trepsin will be right with you. The master will be right with you.
See,
Appreciate
she says master.
Please ping divine sense.
What was that, Saran?
I was like, see, she says master is just being gender neutral.
Oh no, somebody actually said he. I think Doc said, show us where he is. And that's why she responded she.
Yeah, I definitely messed it up because I just assumed.
I see. Okay.
So you all are just kind of, I don't think I have anything hidden on this one.
It's a black screen.
So Magbell just like brings you into a little foyer area. There's like a large wooden staircase that goes up in front of you, splitting at a massive mural of a red dragon flying over top a village, just blowing fire down into the village, and the entire village is burning underneath its breath. And there's a large rug across the entire ground area, and then just a few little seats just kind of sitting around the edges. And Magbell says calmly, "Wait here, Trepsin will be right back with you all."
You have a lovely home.
Yes, it is quite beautiful. It's not my home, though. I just work for the master.
Master has a lovely home.
Trepsin! Guests! Trepsin! And she, like, walks out of the way to the northeast.
As I just sort of sit around this like foyer area, are there any like closets or anything around here?
Looking around you, there seems to be 4 different, let's see, it's kind of 2 halls on each side of you, that are, like, somewhat closed by, like, a, like, open wood framing, where you can, like, see through, like, the florals that are, like, carved into the wood. And you can see 2 doors on each side of these halls. Moving closer, you can spot that there are also doors at the end of each hall as well. So you're kind of in an area where you can gather there's a room at that forward section of the house, a forward at the symmetrical forward section of the house, 2 rooms to your sides, and then there's like a back portion of the house as well that the hall's leading to.
Gotcha. I will take off my red cape and sort of spin it around and drape it over one of my arms, and then I will start opening the doors and kind of like peeking around.
Like what door, what hall, where are you going?
Do I get the impression by like the fanciness of the door if one of them leads to like a closet or a side room versus like a big fancy door that would like lead further into the house? I'm looking to stay like rather unassuming, but just kind of peek around a little bit.
Roll a wisdom check.
4.
So you open a door to the southeast that seems like it might have been like just a closet. As you quickly notice, it opens into a large room, about like 20 by 30 or so. It's a pretty gorgeous room. It's got a nice carpeted floor. You can see the actual hardwoods below the floor. There's a beautiful black piece of armor. It's a gorgeous, like, dark jet black plate mail, and it's kind of standing towards one end. There's another few, like, murals of different creatures flying and kind of like predators of different sorts on these different murals. The most prominent of them is another dragon. This one is a green dragon flying over a forest and swamp, and it seems to be just kind of like soaring up over the actual like wooded area itself. There's a small hearth with a little bit of a fire burning, and then the actual like outline of this room about 12 feet above the ground is all busts. There's elk, there's deer, there's just different creatures, game animals, and they're all mounted across this room. And then the most prominent 2 creatures are a large bear that stands about 12 feet tall and a wolf that stands about 5.5 feet tall. The wolf is on all 4s and it's 5.5 feet tall. The bear is standing up on its hind legs.
All right, I will real quietly close the door and just say, "Oh, that's not the closet at all," and I'll just go back to doing nothing.
For this, does the red dragon thing mean anything to you?
I mean, red drakes tend not to be on the, shall we say, the good side. But other than that, I mean, the symbolism, I can try to infer if there's any other symbolism that I can draw from my scholarly background.
I mean, I'm just trying to suss out, did we walk into the wrong place? Are we not going to find a kindly old sage who tells us how to use the teleportation circle?
I don't think you have to ask Verthus to get the answer to that question. You just walked into a cult house.
Okay, so I can tell.
Yeah, normal people don't worship dragons, so it's not normally the first piece of art that you see is a piece of art that is glorifying a dragon-burning civilization.
Oh, you guys, I think we're gonna have to act like we're, well, I don't know how we're gonna do this with Verth this year, but cultists?
So to clarify, that room that Doc looked at are the things around the top of the wall. Are those like actual animal heads, or are they statues?
Phone's ringing.
Doc would have seen them in a pretty quick flash, I assume, of open and shut, but they look like animals.
Doc will look back over the party, like get kind of close, and say, "There's a green dragon in there too. I think we're behind enemy lines. Play it off."
I'm just gonna say slightly above normal talking volume. I love dragons.
Yeah, that Tiamat. Awesome.
Dragons love you too! It's pummeling time! As you hear just massive footsteps come up to the front door, and the door just goes jet black as the light seems to be covered,